Whether it's Sydney's aging K-sets or Victoria's high-speed velocity trains, which you can see right now. Both Victoria and New South Wales do have a large transport system, but I'm here to answer the real question. The one that has been asked for decades upon decades. Which state has the better transport system? This video will be based on statistics and my personal opinion from my recent trip to Melbourne. I'm going to be talking about three things in this video: reliability, safety, and how good each state preserves their heritage transport. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see everything while in Melbourne, but what I did get footage of, I will be talking about, and I will also be talking about a small incident that did happen while in Melbourne. Without further ado, let's get into this. Quick heads up that some videos will be filmed in portrait because they were filmed on my phone. For the first part of this video, I'm going to be talking about something very important, which is reliability, because if you can't rely on transport in one of these states, then you are absolutely screwed. While in Melbourne, I went to the suburb of Wyndham Vale with the hope of seeing the Overland. Unfortunately, I never saw the Overland at Wyndham Vale. Painfully watching each one of these velocity trains go through over and over and over and over. Again and again, watching these trains go through, express, depart, arrive for 2 hours. It's not because I got my timing wrong, it's because, unfortunately, on the V line, there is no exact tracking. Anything on tracking apps for trains, such as AnyTrip, is estimated on the V line, and it is not exact. In Sydney, all trains that are being tracked are exact, not estimated. If you check AnyTrip and go to Melbourne and look for the V-Line trains, you'll see a small message that does say V-Line is estimated and not exact, which means I could not see the Overland train because it goes through the V-Line. However, there is another thing in Sydney that isn't so reliable. And you guessed it, it's the Metro. Sydney Metro, one of the most unreliable pieces of all transport, in my opinion. And this is not because of the timing and the speed, but it's because they've been pushing back the dates for so long. No one even knows when it's going to open anymore for stage 2. And then we have the infamous D sets, which are set to replace the V sets, which run on the Newcastle line on weekdays and the Blue Mountains line every day. Now, I know both of them are due to safety, and I will be mentioning both of them later in this video, so stay tuned. The main way to get around in Sydney, in the CBD, is either buses or trains. The light rail system is very small. However, in Melbourne, the tram system is a lot larger and a lot more frequent, as you can clearly see right here. You had 3 trams backed up right next to each other, and another tram going the other way right after that. Both states do have quite reliable transport, but if I was to choose one state for reliability, it would be Victoria. Now, even though I said my opinion was that Victoria did have a more reliable transport system, I have done some research recently, and it does say, many sources actually do say, that Sydney has the most reliable transport system in all of Australia, which I find to be a complete lie. By the time this video is up, it probably will be out, but the Sydney Metro is very much delayed. And the new D sets, which you can see currently on this screen, are also about 5 years late. We're worrying about the Civity CAFs. They're 7 years late and a few billion over budget. But hey, apparently somehow Sydney is the most reliable for transport in Australia. But that is the internet, and my opinion, we do not agree on this. And it is clear that Sydney does, unfortunately, and somehow have better transport. I'm now going to talk about the most important part of this video, which is safety, because safety also falls under reliability. If you don't feel safe on a train, I don't think you can rely on it either. Somehow Melbourne's tram system was actually quite safe, and I did not see anyone get hit by any of the trams, unlike the first day of the L2 and L3 light rail line in Sydney. I'm going to start off by talking about the train you see in front of you, which is called the D-set. This train is very infamous for train spotters in Sydney due to the fact that it is replacing the aging V-sets, and it has been delayed for years and years and years, has many safety issues. Some of these issues include passenger doors opening during the trial testing and the guard doors opening during the trial testing. We should be very glad none of this happened during a release of this train. Melbourne is a very multicultural state, whether it's mixed cultures, mixed religions, or mixed thoughts even. It is very mixed and multicultural. However, that also means that a lot of the people you will see are quite dodgy. Unfortunately, I did encounter one while here at Flagstaff, and as soon as this train arrived, he was blaring music. I'm not going to say the age range I reckon he was, but it was quite a risky experience, and I did walk away to make sure I did not film him. Now, as you can tell from on screen, this is not the Sydney Metro. This is a train ride at the New South Wales Train Museum, but I do not have any footage of the Metro, unfortunately, which means I cannot show it on screen, but you did see it earlier when I did take that trip to Rouse Hill. If you would like to go back and rewind, go for it now. I will be right here, and I'm not going anywhere. That's enough time to go look. Let's go talk about what has recently happened with the Sydney Metro. They have completed the correct amount hours of testing. They are doing their numerous emergency drills, but the firefighter union is protesting for more pay from what I have heard, which I understand, because if you're going to risk your life, you want more pay. But I think they should actually get more pay due to what has recently happened just before the opening on the 4th of August. A firefighter during an emergency drill did get a minor electrical shock. Now, I do not know how bad it was, but I do know that he wasn't seriously injured or killed, which isn't bad, but still it poses a safety issue on the Sydney Metro, which delayed it even more, which kind of inconvenienced a lot of people. However, they did continue to release the buses from Crow's Nest Station. So for safety in New South Wales or Victoria, I agree with the internet this time, and it is definitely Victoria, because I don't want to be electrocuted while on a driverless train. Now, this clip will be used numerous times in this section, but I'm going to be talking about how good each state preserves their heritage transport. And trust me on this one, Melbourne wins this. Now, while Sydney does do very well to preserve their heritage trains, you don't see them all that often, except for a few weekends every now and then, and for about 4 days during October and September, depending on when the public holiday is for the transport. Now, in Melbourne, many times you would see this. And no, it's not a Heritage Day Expo tram. No, it's their 35 City Circle Loop tram, which they still use daily, except weekend. What you see in front of you now isn't quite a heritage train. However, Sydney Trains has used their heritage locomotives to turn into freight locomotives or diesel haul locomotives, as you can see right now on your screen. This diesel locomotive was filmed at Epping and it came up as a heritage train. Now, I'm not entirely sure if there was passengers on it or not, but if there were, sign me up. What you see here is a very good example of Sydney Trains having their diesel locomotives used for heritage events such as the Cockatoo Run down the Illawarra line. This event happens about every month, but there's not one until September. At the end of the day, both states do a very good job at preserving their heritage transport, but I think Sydney has to take this one. Let me know your opinion down in the comment section below on which state is the better state for public transport. Be sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications for amazing videos like this, because I will be uploading more long form videos in the future to come. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.